Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into one of the most beautiful and powerful ideas in all of science, evolution. We're going to unpack the exact mechanism that explains how life gets so incredibly good at, surviving and winning.
I mean, really think about it for a second. A polar bear that's perfectly built for the Arctic, a cactus thriving in a bone-dry desert, a weird-looking fish that's right at home in the crushing darkness of the deep sea. This isn't just a happy accident. There is a powerful, ongoing process at work, constantly shaping every single species to fit its world. So, how in the world does that happen?
Well, the key that unlocked this whole puzzle came from a naturalist back in the 1800s named Charles Darwin. He came up with this revolutionary idea he called natural selection, and it totally flipped our understanding of life on its head. So what is this thing, natural selection? Well, at its core, it's nature's filtering system. It decides which traits get passed on to the next generation. The central idea is what Darwin called descent with modification, which is just a fancy way of saying that kids are a lot like their parents, but always with a few little changes. And over millions of years, those tiny little changes can add up to something massive. And here's the coolest part. You'd think a process that can create every living thing you've ever seen would be insanely complicated, right? Well, it's not. This huge world-shaping engine actually runs on just 4 super simple principles. Let's break them down. All right, first up, overproduction. Every living thing basically makes way more offspring than can possibly survive. A maple tree drops thousands of seeds. A single frog can lay thousands of eggs. There's just no way the environment has enough resources for all of them. Darwin actually got this idea from an economist, Thomas Malthus, who pointed out that populations always grow faster than their food supply. Second principle, genetic variation. I mean, just look at a group of people, or your pets, or even plants in a park. No two are ever exactly the same. These little differences, these variations, are absolutely crucial. They're the raw ingredients that natural selection has to work with. It gives nature options to choose from. So let's put it together. You've got way too many individuals, and they're all slightly different from each other. What's going to happen? You guessed it, competition. A struggle for survival. They have to compete for food, for shelter, for mates, and to not become somebody else's lunch. And in that struggle, some of those little variations are going to give certain individuals a huge leg up. And that leads us right to our final and most important principle, differential reproduction. This just means that the individuals who have the winning traits, the ones who are a bit faster or have better camouflage or are smarter about finding food, they're the ones most likely to live long enough to have kids. And when they do, they pass on those winning traits. So you can see the cycle, right? You start with overproduction, which forces competition. Because of variation, some individuals are better fit for that competition and they survive. And the survivors, they get to reproduce, passing on the very traits that helped them win. The cycle just repeats over and over, generation after generation. But hang on, here's a really amazing twist in the story. Darwin saw all this variation. He knew it was the absolute key to his whole theory. But did he actually know where it came from? What was causing these differences between individuals? And the answer is a huge, emphatic no. He had zero idea about DNA or genes or how heredity actually worked. And honestly, that's what makes his theory so unbelievably brilliant. He figured out the entire operating system of evolution just by observing the world without ever being able to see the source code that was running the whole thing. Just wow. Okay, so we've got this process of selecting, competing, and reproducing going on for eons. What's the end result? What does this process actually build? Well, over time, it leads to one thing: adaptations. These are all the incredible features that make an organism seem perfectly engineered for its life. The official definition is pretty straightforward. An adaptation is any trait you can inherit that gives you a better chance of surviving and having babies in your specific environment. It's the direct product of natural selection doing its thing. And these adaptations tend to show up in 3 main flavors. You've got your structural ones, that's the physical stuff, like a desert fox's big ears to cool off, or thorns on a plant. Then you have behavioral adaptations. This is all about how an organism acts, like bears hibernating or birds migrating south. And finally, there are physiological adaptations, which are all about an organism's internal chemistry, like a snake producing venom or a desert rat having super efficient kidneys to save water. A great way to really get a handle on natural selection is to compare it to something we humans do all the time. Let's put it head to head with what we call artificial selection. The differences are really night and day. With natural selection, the environment is the boss. It's what decides who wins. With artificial selection, it's us, humans. Natural selection is incredibly slow, playing out over thousands or millions of years. Well, we can breed a new type of dog pretty fast. But here's the biggest difference: the goal. Nature selects for traits that help an organism survive. We select for traits we like cute squished-in faces on dogs, which ironically often makes the animal less healthy and less fit to survive on its own. And this brings us right to a final mind-bending thought. Evolution isn't some historical event that's over and done with. It's a slow, constant process that is happening right now, all around us, in every living population. So the question I want to leave you with is this: what pressures are we creating in the environment today, and what incredible new adaptations are evolving right under our noses to meet those challenges?